Why don't I know my type? Hi, I'm Ayla with True You Systems, and today we're going to be looking at the 2 main reasons people can't figure out their type. So the first reason is that we aren't just one type. We're really a mixture of all of them, and we're a mixture of a few main ones, and it can be hard to tell which one is the dominant one that I tend to fall into the most. What you want to ask yourself is, what is motivating me? Why am I doing these behaviors? And then that can help you to understand what is the main type that you're tending to fall into. So for instance, you might be thinking to yourself, I really relate to elements of 2, and I also really relate to elements of 9, and I can't tell which one is the dominant one that I tend to use. And you'd want to look at the motivation for why you're helping somebody or why you're doing what you're doing. Is it in order to make sure that they need you, that they're tied to you in some way and they have to have you help them? That's 2. If it's more like, that person was just around and I was just around and well, sure, I'll help them out. Why not? And then do something else. That's more 9. The second reason you might be having trouble figuring out your main type is that you might be one of the types that particularly struggles with being able to tell what they are. And those main types are 3, 6, and 9, but for entirely different reasons. For 3s, it can be really difficult for them to figure out what type they are because they're so good at being social chameleons. They fit into any situation with whoever they're with. They don't just fit in, they shine. They outshine often the other people in the group, but they are able to make sure that they're really matching what the group is expecting of them. And they're comparing themselves to other people in the group. It makes them really good at fitting in. But when you're really good at fitting in, it can be hard to know what am I actually like when I'm not performing, when I'm not making myself into something else for someone else. I met a 3 once who was talking about how they were in a group one time that was learning about the Enneagram, and when they were learning about it, the group they were with were all 2s. And so they also were saying, oh yeah, I'm a 2, when they knew that they were a 3 and were really just wanting to make sure that people were liking that they were doing 2 so well. In fact, better than all these other 2s. They were doing the best at being a 2. And that's because 3s want to exceed expectations. They want to make sure that they're shining, that people are admiring them. And sometimes that means being something else. So the next type that might find it hard to figure out which type they are 6s. And that's because making any decision for 6s and doing that with certainty is hard. I mean, have you ever gone to a restaurant with a 6 and just tried to order something? It can take a while. 6s are always weighing their options, the pros and cons, who you can trust and whether or not it's true. And that can be true for even themselves and whether or not they can be trusted. And do I know what I am really? Well, I'm not sure, and re-questioning that. And all of that questioning can mean that it's hard to be certain. Well, yeah, that is what's motivating me. This is why I do that. If you find yourself going back and forth and questioning and re-questioning, well, that pattern is actually 6. 9s are also types that can really have a hard time figuring out what type they are, and that is because 9s are so good at merging with people and connecting with people and understanding people, and that's why they're such good peacemakers, because they see every side and it all makes sense to them, and that's incredible and it's such a gift. But it can mean that sometimes it's hard to know, well, what do I actually think, or what do I actually feel? 9s will often say things like, well, I am all the types, or I feel like I can be all the types. And it's true, we are all of them, but not equally so. And so ask yourself, well, if you're all the types, do you confront people and get into arguments for the sake of arguing? Oh, you find it really easy to make decisions and you can just do them like that and be super confident and ready to go. Oh, you like to be in the center and on the spotlight and everybody looking to you. Do you you relate to all of them but don't actually do all of those behaviors, well, you might actually be a 9. Don't get me wrong, it's totally amazing that 9s can see all of the perspectives, and thank you for seeing all of the perspectives and understanding us all so well. It's just, there's also you. Well, that's it for today for talking about what type I might be, but I'm curious to know, which types do you tend to lean towards and why? I learned so much from all of you. If you found this helpful, please press the like button. I can't wait to talk to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.